I've not seen this, so we're watching this together as friends on the internet. I talked about this in brief last stream. How Andrew Tate was in Florida, how there were rumors that this was being orchestrated by higher ups in the Trump administration. Supposedly it was a temporary stay. But as soon as he got into the state of Florida, my governor, Ron DeSantis, and his attorney general immediately started looking at if they could apply long-arm sex trafficking laws against him in the United States. If you don't know, the United States and a couple other countries who are signatories of a specific convention have outlawed sex trafficking regardless of where it happens. These are long-arm statutes. So if you go to Thailand and you have sex with a child, or if you go to Brazil and you have sex with a child, or if you go to Romania and you traffic a child into Romania to pimp them out, these are crimes not only in the countries of origin. Sometimes, if you go to Iraq, you can have sex with an 8-year-old legally, but even if it is legal in that country, it is not legal in the United States. And many states have mirror laws of federal statutes. So the federal government has laws against sex trafficking that occur regardless of where the sex trafficking happened. And Florida has its own mirror statute of this federal law that has very similar language, where it's like, if you go out of Florida to molest a child in Brazil or Romania and you come to Florida, we can prosecute you here too. These are good things, because this is how you end child exploitation. You go after the people who produce it, and you go after the people who consume it. And if you have a sex tourist going to foreign countries to have sex with children, arresting the sex tourist ends the financial incentives for the very, very poor and dispossessed people of those countries from pimping out their own kids, which is a thing that happens, sadly. So he ends up in Florida. Immediately, my boy DeSantis, king of Florida, sets upon him the royal court, and Andrew Tate is getting search warrants issued against him in regards to a sex trafficking case. By the way, coincidentally, one of the victims in the Romania case lives in Florida. So why Andrew Tate decided to go to Florida? Maybe it's just the beautiful beaches. Who knows? Could also be something more nefarious. But the Kang DeSantis, was not going to let that happen. So he was immediately getting shaken down by police as soon as he landed. And he's already committed to leaving. He is being driven into the Gulf of America by the King's men mere days after arriving in Florida. An absolute, unmitigated, total and complete W for the AG of Florida and for Ron DeSantis, and to be real, for Florida as a whole, as a collective. The Sunshine State has been unstained by a brown Mohammedan sex pest who is fucking off back to Romania. He says it's a strange feeling to be so adored that when you go to a 2-week holiday to Miami, the entire world talks about it. It's wild. I'm going back to Romania in a few days anyways. He was supposed to leave, I want to say at the end of March. I think it was a day that ended in 3, so either the 13th or the 23rd, but he's leaving earlier than that because of DeSantis. By the way, I found this very curious. Here is Tristan Tate and Andrew Tate standing next to Roger Stone, a very, very wealthy and affluential man. Richard Grinnell secured the release of the Tates because there was no evidence against them. So now, of course, little Ron DeSantis says these U.S. citizens who have no pending charges against them are not welcome in Florida. This is an outright fucking lie, and I cannot believe how often people repeat this. They are still being prosecuted in Romania. So Roger Stone is just lying on his fucking ass, saying that there's no charges against him. He is still, that's why he has to go back to Romania, because he's being prosecuted for the same crimes in Romania. But he's just fucking lying. And then this guy, this came out in court recently. This guy killed his ex-girlfriend, and he actually raped her. He does admit that he took a crossbow, and I think this was in the UK. He took a crossbow. So really you can see how these anti-gun policies are working. This guy got a crossbow and then shot his ex-girlfriend, right here, her sister and her mother, and raped her. Not necessarily in that order. He denies raping her. And he just so happened to be a really big Andrew Tate fan. So there is a material consequence to fucking idiots listening to this. That is when you feel so powerless and so helpless because you lost your fucking girlfriend, that you feel entitled to take a crossbow and murder her and her entire family and her. And I'm just sickened by people who support this to the point where I can't even fucking believe it. And maybe it's just because I feel like I'm the only person who talks about this. But somehow I find myself in agreement with Dick Masterson and Nick Rekieta. This is how down bad I am, chat. I'm trying to point out a brown Mohammedan sex trafficker who admits to having sex with 15-year-old girls in Romania as part of his pornography scheme. And nobody cares because he occasionally says, well, what about that what replacement? That what replacement? Like, what about it? It's funny, isn't it? And it's like, oh my God, brown Mohammedan said things that I like. Oh my God, I love him. And it's... And the only people who will object to this are like me and Dick Masterson and fucking Nick Rekieta. Dick Masterson says, Andrew Tate told me personally, and there is a fucking Dick show where he's interviewing Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate told me personally that he had trafficked women and defrauded men, yet you dumb roided freak. Are you dumb roided freak? He did it on my show. 15-year-olds is also illegal as a U.S. citizen no matter where you do it. That's true. And Rekieta even confirms this. Rekieta Law, who said it's legal for me to come on your grave, says, I don't think people realize that if a U.S. citizen goes to Colombia and hires a 14-year-old prostitute, they have violated American federal law. Pedotourism is not legal, thank Christ. It's so fucking bleak, chat. It's so fucking bleak. Like, I understand that the right feels like they're underdogs and they need all the champions that they can muster into their big tent. We have a pretty fucking big tent now. And honestly, some of the clowns in our big tent are a little bit scary to the people we actually want in the big tent. The little white kids, the little white girls outside the tent do not want to come in the tent when we have this big, ugly, scary clown in it. And we need to drive them out. That is my advice. It's okay to be picky. It's okay to be like, this guy is bad. We don't need him. We do not need this brown Mohammedan sex trafficker, pornographer in our big tent. It's completely okay to say that. But for some reason, people are like, well, he talked about the JQ. Oh my God. I might have to play this. I'm in an unusual position where I try to be nice, right? Okay. This is me. I'm nice. I'm a nice guy. I think not a single person in the entire universe, including Liz Fong Jones, would disagree that I'm a nice guy. And I try to be nice to people. I realize that some people go down bad every so often. But I want to show that I know that there is a thread of dignity still left that is still humming and still vibrating and trying to action change so that the brown Mohammedan sex pests are not welcome in our big tent. And somebody on Zitter pointed this out to me and said, watch this, he's having a melty over Andrew Tate. I have showed up on stream with this guy like 2 or 3 times at this point. And we're not like friends, but I don't know. It's always nice when someone tolerates me. So I'm not trying to be mean, chat. I'm not trying to be mean. But I'm going to play this because I thought it was funny. And I find it a learning experience, chat. I find it a learning experience that it is possible to persuade people to disown brown Mohammedan sex pests. And it's possible to make the right-wing grifters realize that it's an unprofitable position to support brown Mohammedan sex pests. So I will play this only as a learning lesson and not as a personal slight towards anyone, chat. This is I Hypocrite on Zitter, who goes by LP Original LG. He does a show called The Daily Cope, I want to say, the Progressive Report, where he watches clips, and he tried to show this, but his chat was not having it. This clip is what I'm showing you.
You know, I'm looking at this chat, ZH. It says, no, you see, this cam whore kingpin has to be our figurehead. And I think I will just ban you, actually. Go with your instincts.
He face stalks because he to give you some background, I think if you look at I Hypocrite's profile, he describes himself only as like a recovering thought addict, and that's because he ran a Facebook group where he was talking to a spicy lady who was catfishing him and drew the letters best goy on his face and sent it to her at her request, not realizing that this would be an obvious request by a fucking catfish. So he's been face locked for a while, but he started using a webcam on his streams at some point, I think.
I didn't say he has to be the figurehead. When I say shit like this, what I'm saying is Tate is doing more than you are. Okay. Tate is moving the needle on certain crucial things more than you are. You're a nobody. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody cares what you think. And you can cry in the chat and you can be the most fucking based person alive. It doesn't matter. Nobody's fucking listening to you, bro. Whereas millions and millions of people are listening to Tate, and he's out here saying white nationalist talking points and JQ talking points. So that's what I like about him. But I never said he has to be the figurehead leader, Lord Supreme of all things. I don't think that about anybody. There's people who are getting shit done, and then there's people who aren't. That's all there is. There's no hierarchy in this movement. Really, like none whatsoever. It's an internet culture war. You're either doing something or you're not.
I reject that argument wholesale. Like, there's more than just like a linear scale of like backwards and forwards. It is possible for someone to say some right things, but to be such an obvious detriment to the collective that it scares people off. So it might look like it's like a train that looks like it's going forward, but it's actually moving backwards and it's running over people. it's double track drifting while running over people as it goes backwards. Okay.
I was banning that guy at the exact same time as you. That's funny. I literally clicked it and it disappeared and I thought it was me.
In soil.
Not Christian. Spy v Spy. See, this is why you got banned before. Again, because you can say that, and that's your opinion, but Andrew Tate, again, is doing more to help white Christians than you are. And you want to be like, F him, as if we don't need him because we have you on the case. Dude.
You got me.
People fucking piss me off, man. All you do is you sit on the sidelines and you snipe at everybody who's trying to fucking work. Everybody who's trying to actually do anything. It's driving me fucking crazy. Fucking peanut gallery.
Peanut emojis in chat. Do we have those? Are there peanut emojis?
Andrew Tate on Full Send podcast. You can't criticize Jews. This is the clip Nick was talking about.
This is actually.
Thank you for banning that guy. You can't even say you don't like Andrew. No, I said multiple times you're allowed to not like Andrew Tate. But if you come in here and you're just like him because he's brown and not Christian, that's really annoying.
The squirrel emojis.
And again, Tate is doing more for me than you are. That's the point. You're crying about people who are doing more than you are. Like, how many fucking times do I have to say it, man?
I love that anger.
How is that hard to understand? That Tate is on the Full Send podcast getting 5 million views saying you can't criticize Jews in America, and you're in the fucking live chat talking about how, it's so gay that you're not allowed to criticize Tate over here. Fuck off.
Well,
all Tate said, by the way, was that each culture has like an untouchable. Like, you can't criticize the Communist Party in China. You can't criticize Putin and the oligarchs in Russia. You can't criticize the Jews in the West. And this is not like a new observation, but it's not even particularly persuasive. Because if you try to say this, if you go up to a random person, eyes completely shut, and you say, why can't we talk about Jews in America? He'll say, well, they got holocausted, bro. They're probably really scared of being holocausted again, so they're sensitive about anti-Semitism. And that's just what they're going to say. That's not persuasive. That's not actually been moving the needle in either direction. That is the only person who's impressed by that is people like him, who see asinine little statements like that are completely, really inoffensive in the grand scheme of things and unpersuasive to people who don't believe what you already believe. It's just a peanut thrown to you like, hey, support me in my sex trafficking case. I'm based just like you, fellow Goyam.
I thought Tate hated Whitey at first, but that is not true. He's encouraging us to do better.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's always had like tweets that are intentionally rage baity or whatever. his famous Star Wars tweet was like an example of that. But if you don't get super angry and you actually think about what he's saying, there's usually like a kernel of truth in there. Get this fucking
No shit. It's 2025 and you're amazed by a random Muslim talking about Jews. Yeah, bro. Is the Ayatollah of Iran going to be the next conservative hero? Can we get the Ayatollah of Iran on the Joe Rogan podcast? I'm sure if you sit down the Ayatollah of Iran on Joe Rogan, you're going to win a lot of hearts and minds on the fucking JQ. What a hero. God bless the Ayatollah of Iran. Off.
Here. Like, people will say shit like that, DFF Groiper, and it's like, why don't you just fuck off, dude? You know you're just going to get banned. Are you happy now? Do you feel better now that you're banned? Mental breakdown. You fucking people, man.
One streamer to another. If someone in chat is accusing you of having a mental breakdown, you don't just go, fuck you. Fucking idiots. I'm not having a fucking mental breakdown, you dumb piece of shit. Mother.
God, just once, let me catch somebody like DFF Groiper in real life saying some shit like that to me in real life. Just once, Lord.
As if this guy meets DFF Groiper in the street. DFF Groiper. I can't even believe I'm defending someone named DFF Groiper. How the fuck is there a Nick Fuentes person named DFF Groiper? Groiper in the fucking username. That I'm like, well, he's right. Isn't it amazing that now Andrew Tate is like so disgusting and I'm so repulsed by how many people are openly supporting him. I'm just like, Nick Fuentes wasn't that bad. The Groipers weren't really that bad. They were just jerking off to cartoons mostly. Like, come on. Give me a fucking break.
Live. Okay. So any person who would like to...
White power.
Yeah. Thanks for the 5. Thank you.
He would be governor of Florida.
Yeah. Anyway, you get the idea. Tate criticized Jews, and that's when they started going after him. I'm just like, I just don't even fucking care anymore. All right. You guys, fucking hell. And I know it's going to be the same thing tomorrow with the debate. I know it's going to be just an endless fucking stream of people crying to me about JF. God. All right. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
That's actually how his podcast ends, by the way. I don't know what the joke is. The Daily Cope is brought to you by Lyndon Perry, and then it ends. I don't know if that's his name or if it's like a pseudonym or whatever, but yeah, he quit after that. JF, what he was saying at the end is I think JF is doing a thing tomorrow or today, and he was going to be watching that, and it's just like, everybody's going to be, he murdered his wife. He has sex with mentally handicapped women and murdered his wife. And it's like, well, he wrote a book about how white people are genetically better and shit, and that's like really important. Like, I'm sorry, but no Frenchman going, so the revolutionary phenotype is that in every white man is the Gartenfunkel, which gives us divine grace and providence over the whole world, and to sow our oats and the spuds of the earth. And no, actually, we don't need that. We don't need murderers in the big tent. The big tent can do without the fucking murderers and the fucking people having sex with retarded women. Can none of you be fucking normal? You marry somebody on your own fucking level and have kids who are going to be beneficial to society. That's it. That's literally all that's required to be conservative at this point. You can't fucking manage it. I just want to be able to process credit card chat. I just want to play Dota 2 and sell t-shirts chat. Why did you make me do this? Why did you make me do this? That's stupid.